So, my beautiful girls and my handsome boys, welcome back again to your favorite astrology channel, which is the one and only Jupiter Astrology channel. So, today in this video, we will gonna discuss about 8th house, right? Because 8th house is really one of the most important, one of the most mysterious, one of the most unpredictable, uncertain, or I can say one of the most very unique kind of a house, I can say. And I know that many people are asking me to create a video on 8th house. So today we will discuss some things regarding the 8th house, and this video could be bold. We would like to discuss some things like could be little bit like that. What are the actually the things regarding the 8th house? It's not specifically like anything you think that negative, but of course what are the things, whether it's negative or positive, whatever 8th house represent, we will try to see that. Okay, we will try to see everything like regarding the 8th house, or I can say them like as max as we can. Okay guys, I would like to tell you before you move forward, you can directly take consultation from us. We have created a website now. It's so simple. You can go there, link in description and the comment section below. You can just click there, and just click of a button, you can just simply purchase directly consultation from us as the instruction are given on the website, and then we will just help you out in the consultation. Okay guys, so for that, links are in comment section and description. You can purchase consultation also. So now, my beautiful girls and my handsome boys, in Vedic astrology, 8th house is called to be as Ashtam Sthan, 8th house. Okay, which means what? Which means like a 8th house is Ashtam Sthan, is a place of unexpected. Okay, if I would like to give it a word, okay, I would like to give it a word, unexpected. Okay, so like for an example, anything that happened unexpectedly, that you are not expecting, that we see from the 8th house. And that can be anything, right? That can be positive, that can be negative. Okay, so let me just give you one example. Let's say uh, unexpectedly, suddenly something happened, like let's say you want to go to foreign country or foreign lands. You're like, oh, I want to be there, I want to be there, and suddenly something happened, right, due to which you get the call or something like that, hey, you have to run away, and suddenly you have to come to foreign land tomorrow. Okay, so in a way it is giving you positivity, because you are like, it's giving you a little bit happiness because you are going foreign land, but also you have to just run away because there might be some emergency. Okay, which can also give you tension depending upon its frequency. So that is the kind of a 8th house is. It's like a unexpected, sudden, that we can say. Now all the problems, pain, uh, you know like death, problems, and everything which you consider, all these kind of accident and shits and this and that, all these things are seen from the 8th house. Okay, my beautiful girls and my handsome boys. So 8th house is also, we can say, the house of suspense, right? It is the house of suspense also. 8th house also represent uh, like the house of your in-laws, right, your spouse family. So that is also seen from the 8th house. It is also said in astrology that 8th house is a kind of a hole, right, or you can say kind of a black hole in which there is everything. Okay, so like whatever your fears are, your phobias, or like whatever the certain things that will be happen suddenly, or anything that will be happen. Okay, so that are there in this 8th house hole. Although they can also be positive, of course. Okay, like suddenly you will get a lottery. Okay, you will get gains. Okay, so that, like the sudden gain, that could also be in 8th house. Now guys, generally, in generalizing, when you study the astrology or you start studying, you will see that like it is written in many places like 8th house is not a good house, like 6, 8, 12 they consider like not good house, and 8th is very bad and this and that. Now like I can say that there are of course certain negative things as well, but also there are positive things as well. Okay, so I think in today's world uh, it is also important that how you connect things. I personally believe in saying the positive things uh, out of the most, even if the placement is most negative, so I try to see the positivity out of it. Okay, because there must be some positive, although the negative part of course also play the role, but at least we should try to also focus, or I can say try to see the positivity, or like at least I try to see that, because that's really important. Okay, because let me just give you example. Let's say your 10th lord is placed in the 8th house. So you see, if you find any old minded or traditional minded astrology kind of a person or astrologer, they are like, oh, your 10th lord is in 8th house, your career will be ruined, you will face oh like many problems, you will not able to earn money and this and that, chaos and bullshit. Like they will say such negative things. Can you imagine if you say such negative things, then what will be the impact of such negative things, or I can say your advice or your saying on that person? Like even if that person is not feeling bad after listening to such astrologer, the person start to feel that even if he is or she is the most unlucky person on this planet because they have such a bad placement regarding their career, right? But I personally believe it is like, of course you have to study all the things regarding this, but it is mainly like the alignment of energy. Okay, so let's say let's just continue this example. Your 10th lord is placed in the 8th house. Okay, now you should understand this. Okay, don't listen to such people who just try to give negativity, is like such a bullshit thing. Try to understand, try to connect things. 10th house is the house of your career. Okay, and 10th lord is your career lord. Now it is sitting in the 8th house, although of course we see other things as well for career, but it is sitting in the 8th house. 8th house is like we are discussing right here. So in like whatever 8th house significations are there, if you connect your career with the signification of 8th house, then this will not give you problem. When this will give you problem, when you are not connecting the 8th house related signification in your career. You may find, I am telling you, just note it, just try to experience it. If you would like to experience physically, you will try to see only 10 chart. Okay, minimum try to see the 10 chart, 10 people who have 10th lord in the 8th house. You will notice that maybe 5 6 people are in trouble who have 10th lord in the 8th house, but you will notice that at least 3 4 5 or at least 4 people maybe you will find who have 10th lord in the 8th house, but they are enjoying their career is fantastic. Even their career can be more fantastic, more awesome than the person who may have 10th lord in the 10th house, right? You will be surprised to see that this person have 10th lord in the 8th house, his career is amazing. How can that be possible? This is possible because certainly, most definitely, I am 100% sure that that person career must have some 8th house element. Okay, so if you connect yourself with the 8th house related element, or you connect in a career which is regarding the 8th house when you have certain position, then you will start like to see good things in your career or growth in your career. Okay, but if let's say you have 10th lord in the 8th house and you are not connecting, or you are not, in simple way I can say, in simplified way, you are not giving respect to the 8th house related things. If you are not giving respect to the 8th house related things, or in a simple way, more simple way I can say, if you are not connecting the karak tattva of the 8th house to your career, that's when you will see the problems. Okay, that's when you see that, okay, here's the problem in the career, here could be the ups and downs, here could be that you are losing your job and then you have to do another job, then you get fired and this and that and ups and downs. But if you connect like the karak tattva of the 8th house, like for an example, you connect research. Okay, Maybe you will find 10th lord in the 8th house. You find that the person is a data scientist or data analyst, an analyst, and he is having great job. Okay, maybe you find that the person is in research related things. Maybe you find that the person is in oil, petroleum. Maybe you find that the person can be in insurance. Okay, and a lot of other things. So if the person is in 8th house related field, or at least he had some 8th house related things in his career, then you will find that the person is not in trouble. Okay, now of course we have to see other thing as well, like dasha, antardasha, and this and that, but I'm just trying to give you some examples. Okay, so that you will at least feel like, you just try to understand that okay, that's how things work. Otherwise there are a lot of people on this earth who just try to spread negativity or just try to spread chaos. I personally believe in alignment, or like of the things. Okay, if you just try to connect the karak tattva of the things as per your chart, then I personally believes that you start to gain money, you start to get at least some stability in your career, you start to feel better. Okay, so now let's continue our 8th house related thing where we are. Now you also see kundalini related things from the 8th house. You also see like and the lower parts, etc., right? We also see from the 8th house. Okay, so yeah, like for an example, in a simple way I try to explain you like the 2nd house is the food we eat. Okay, and the 8th house is the exit of like the wastage of food. Okay, so that's how it works. We also see 8th house, we also see graveyards from the 8th house. Okay, so 8th house also represent graveyard, right? 8th house is also like a pit, hole. All the unfortunateness, problems is also seen from the 8th house. It is like, from the 8th house we also see that how long you live. Okay, your age, how long your life will be. Your age we can also see from the 8th house depending upon what planets are there. It is the house of your death also. Okay, that we can see from 8th house as well. How you will die, we also see that from the 8th house. Okay, like how you will die, like whether the person is die by this thing or that thing. Like, there are certain people who say the prediction, oh, you will die by, like, maybe inside water, maybe sinking in water or something like that. You will find a lot of astrologer who give this prediction to the people, like specifically for the people who have moon in the 8th house. Once they see that, like, oh, you will have fear from the water and this and that. And it is so, like, sometime I feel that like such people just tell them. And even I see some people, especially once they know that you have moon in the 8th house, you have fear from the water, you may get death from the water, you will be died by the water, they start to, like, think that, oh, I shouldn't have to go near beaches or lake or anything like that. I don't think so personally. See, you will find a lot of people who have moon in the 8th house, they didn't die by like the water or any water related activities. They just die by certain other things. Okay, now of course, like, some people can. Okay, but here is the thing, what my take on this thing is that I can advise you one thing. If you have moon in the 8th house, prevention is always better than the cure. Okay, although if like a person is dying by that, there's no cure, but I'm just trying to tell you that you have to always take precautions. If you have moon in the 8th house, you can go to beaches, can live near lake, or can live wherever you want, like maybe in water. If you want to go on boat, etc., it's good. But if you have moon in the 8th house and you are thinking that I will, like, let's say I will do scuba diving, or I will go underwater, and this is fun and this and that, so that could be dangerous for you. Of course, you have to use your brain, right? Moon in the 8th house, of course, show that person have to be careful from going deep in the water. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you have to stop going and sitting near beaches or maybe thing like that. But if you are an intelligent person, you use astrology wisely, so you can understand that okay, I have moon in the 8th house, so no matter what people say, but I have to be a bit careful. Okay, so you just try to avoid maybe jumping deep in the water or doing scuba diving or anything like that, going deep inside water. Okay, that could be dangerous because moon is sitting in the 8th house. Moon is like the water, and now 8th house is the deep hole, going deep inside, and you are just going deep by going into the water deep, so that could be dangerous. Okay, so you have to take precautions. I completely agree to that. It is always a good idea, if you have moon in the 8th house, you have to take precautions. But thinking or giving someone advice that you have moon in the 8th house, don't go near water, don't go to beaches, that is such a stupid thing, right? Of course you have to take precautions, what I said, but you can go and sit in the beaches, you may go a little bit in the water, you just can have fun in the life, guys. Okay, but always keep in mind that if you have this placement, then just avoid doing any water related dangerous snorkeling or scuba diving or dangerous activities in which there could be a risk of your life, right? So you have to be careful. But of course, going to the beaches or near lake etc or sitting in a boat, it's just normal, right? Okay, so don't just overthink, but of course you have to take precautions regarding the deep like activities of water in which you go deep inside. Okay, so yeah, you have to be careful for that. Now guys, see, uh, the benefits from someone death is also seen from the 8th house, right? Or I can say that after death, the benefit, okay, is also seen from the 8th house, although it's really sad thing, because if someone dies, nothing can replace one's life, but still, like, because it's a 8th house thing, so I have to like explain that. I'm just trying to explain. Okay, just try to understand that. uh because see, why I said that 8th house is also the house which said that the benefits or the gains that you get by giving someone pain or by giving yourself like the pain. So the benefits, or I can say the things that you get through 8th house, the gains that you get through 8th house, there will be some like the pain or some problem involved. Like first maybe you have to face some problem, then you will get the gain, or maybe someone else will face problem and then you will get the gain. Okay, that could also be seen from the 8th house. Okay, so like for an example, insurance money also came from the 8th house. Okay, uh, also like the parental property can also be seen from the 8th house. Okay, so let's say like for an example, especially things like in countries like India, where this thing happened, that when you get separated, like maybe some dispute happen and then you get separated and you start to live separate, then uh, there is like a separation, and then the property is distributed, so that is also seen from the 8th house. Okay, because first you may face some problem, some fights, arguments and all that, then you get the gain, so that is also the 8th house. So we can also say in simple words, the gains from the loss is also seen from the 8th house. Okay, or in other words, 8th house is also the gain from the loss, right? First it will give you some pain, then it will give you the money. Okay, although it is also the house of unexpected gain, so any kind of gains which is uncertain, unpredictable, suddenly, like you win the lottery, suddenly you get the gains, that is also the 8th house. Like for an example, I would like to tell you that you know I heard, I'm not very sure, but I heard from someone that one person, like I was, I think watching some video in that they were discussing or I didn't remember exactly. I was reading maybe the article or video. They were discussing that, you know, one person, father, many years ago purchased some stocks, okay, some shares in the stock market, of course. And at that time, of course, the boy was a kid, and now I think his father was passed away, or I didn't remember that he is very old, or and on bed due to some disease, something like that case. So suddenly they just came across those papers. They didn't have much idea. Something somehow happened due to it. They didn't have. I think the father was passed away, and they didn't have the idea that they have these shares. And now the value of those shares after so many years, because they hadn't sell them, is very high. And they just came to know about that by reading the paper, that okay, my father have purchased these share, and now this share value is so high. So they just sell those share, and boom, in one day they get so much money. So that is also seen from the 8th house. Sudden, okay, suddenly something happened. Okay, so yeah, that's something sudden, uncertain. That is also 8th house. Okay, now you may see some people that who is like that, I do betting, any kind of like sports betting. I am like that kind of a person. Okay, or maybe lottery or things like that. Like throughout the life I am just doing that. So in that kind of, you know, betting kind of a thing, fifth house related things, even in stock market as well, fifth house related thing is also involved along with the eighth. You know why? Because fifth house represent your brain. And for such people who are in this stocks or in this betting or these things like that, first the fifth house activate, because fifth house is your brain. They get certain placement by which it give them tendency to think and to invest in these things, or at least I can say to invest their time in these things. Their brain start to thinking like that. Because even though you all guys are watching this video, many people, but not everyone has the capacity to maybe do like any kind of a betting, or maybe like, let's say, like wherever it is legal, of course, or whatever. And maybe to, I can say, invest money in the stock market or anything. But certain people have that. So the fifth house involvement must also be seen in such cases, okay, along with the eighth, right? So yeah, that could also be seen. Now, so in a simple way I am saying that fifth house create that thoughts of such things, and then when its connection with the eighth house, okay, is there, and then also maybe the 11th house or some other place where it is showing that the person will gain favorably. So like the condition is favorable for you, or maybe certain transit along with the combination, in that case person will, like, you know, win that. And if let's say there are certain combination by birth in someone's chart, then that person, you will see that throughout the life they become very rich by investing in such things. Okay, so that could also be seen. Now you also see sudden, like the sudden thing happens, like suddenly a person who was nothing, he start to, you know, like you know, involve in politics, and then suddenly boom, he get, like, you know, into a politics, and he becomes some kind of a minister or some politician. So the thing which happens suddenly like that is also 8th house, right? Although for that, of course, Rahu and other things play their role as well, but still right now we are talking about 8th house due to the sudden event. So yeah, that could also be seen. Like also you see the treasure, or some people who do gold hunting, or like you see there's many shows on the Discovery Channel, etc., regarding the gold mining and gold hunting, where people go and try to find out the gold out of the like the land. That is also 8th house. Okay, those people who do that and who are able to find that, they have good, you know, 8th house related combinations. Okay, that's how they get it. or anyone like who may find it like anywhere, okay, especially the one which is buried under like the ground, that kind of a gold or any treasure, that is eighth house. Or if let's say someone goes somewhere and suddenly he found, so that is all eighth house. Although in nowadays it's really rare, but of course if someone is going for like gold mining or like things like that and they are able to find it, that's again because of this their combination, okay, of eighth house. Like you see, uh, if someone have such like the placements regarding the eighth house which is good for them, so only those people may get this thought in the mind to maybe try to find gold or to hunt gold, or like even if you see now, these people who try to do such activities, if you try to find their chart, you will find that yes, like there must be certain, or like I can say some connection or combination that is formed uh, with the eighth house, due to which they have that thing, you know not everyone wants to do that, but certain people who have such combinations, they would like to do that, and if it's favorable for them, of course they will also succeed. Also mining, all kind of a mining, anything mining, diamond, gold, or anything, whatever you just take out of the ground, okay, whether it can be petroleum, gas, oil, all these things is also seen from the eighth house, okay, because it is mining also come, mining related work is also come under eighth house. Any kind of accident is also come under eighth house, because it happened quickly, like you are just smiling, you are just listening your song, you are singing, and boom, suddenly accident happen, some car or some truck come and hit you or hit your car, like that is also eighth house, because it happens suddenly, boom. So that is also seen from the eighth house thing, which is unpredictable, which is beyond our imagination, which is in future, which we think that we cannot think about, or we were not planning to think about, and suddenly it happens, that is eighth house. Now that is the reason why accident or any problematic situation that happen is seen from the eighth house, because other than, or I can say except someone who could be a great yogi or who could be a great spiritual person who could have certain intuition, psychic power, no one can ever imagine that this will gonna happen the next moment, right? So these things are all eighth house, sudden. Now guys, eighth house also represent of course occult sciences, this astrology, all these kind of psychic things, intuition, right? All such powers are also seen from the eighth house, right? These fields are also eighth house related field. Also like research, any kind of research, deep thinking, okay, is also seen from the eighth house. Depression is also from the eighth house, and research is also from the eighth house. And you see, like for an example, a person is a data analyst or data scientist, so what that person do, is exactly, he or she just play with the hidden information, and hidden information is also the eighth house, okay. So like you see the CBI, like CIA, KGB, all these secret agents, the government spy, who are playing with the hidden information, or anything like any private detective, Sherlock Holmes, all such things, which is like the person in which is dealing with the eighth house, which is dealing with the hidden information, is also eighth house, right? All such things are eighth house. Even depression is also eighth house, right? Now I want you guys to write in the comment section that what are the things that you think also are there in the eighth house, because there are many other things as well. I try to discuss my thoughts, or my, like I just try to tell you things in a different way. That's what my objective is here, to just spread some positivity also, apart from like the negativity is already so much in the planet. And especially, people just try to say, oh, this and that. Of course negativity is also there, but I'm just trying to spread some positivity also. But guys, I would like to know that what are the other things apart from what I have discussed in this video do you think come under 8th house? I want you guys to just comment down below and tell me that, yeah, this is also under 8th house, what your thoughts are. I would also like to know that. That's really a great idea. You can just share whatever you think, that could also be in 8th house. Even you can just try to ask me that, hey, do you think it is also in 8th house? So there's no problem, don't think about wrong and right, just try to write it. Okay, and let's see that what more things you can just find out, or how your brain works in that sense. Okay, so guys, this is all about this 8th house video. I thought like people are asking, so let's just create a video and try to explain it, and try to maybe discuss things about 8th house, whatever in a way I can. Because see, I have to be also careful what I am saying, but still I said, because we are discussing the 8th house thing, so we also have to discuss a little bit negative but also positive. But also I tried to give a new example so that you can understand that, okay, this is how we can connect things. But yeah, so these are 8th house related things. I am waiting for your comments, and I will meet my beautiful girls and my handsome boys to you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.